Hello guys. Please support us by liking and subscribing to encourage us for more. If you did not watch the previous part, you will find it in the description. Chapter 6, The Town in Turmoil. As Elias Blackwood delved deeper into the intricate connection between the vengeful dolls and the grudges held by the forgotten souls within them, a malevolent force stirred with increasing intensity. The spectral symphony, now resonating with the revealed grievances, took a darker turn, propelling the dolls into a relentless escalation of revenge that plunged the town into chaos. The first signs of chaos manifested as the dolls, fueled by the grudges of the spirits they embodied, intensified their spectral waltz through the town. Shadows danced along the cobblestone streets, and the air crackled with an otherworldly energy. The rhythmic beats of the haunting melody echoed like a harbinger of doom. The vengeful dolls, guided by the malevolent force, entered homes where the perpetrators of past injustices resided. The atmosphere within these dwellings became charged with fear and paranoia as the dolls confronted the guilty, their porcelain eyes glowing with an ethereal intensity. Suppressed memories were brought to the forefront, and the guilty were forced to confront the consequences of their past actions. Windows rattled and lights flickered as the dolls moved through the town, leaving a trail of chaos in their wake. The malevolent force manipulated the very fabric of reality, creating unsettling occurrences that fueled the atmosphere of dread. Rumors of haunting whispers and ghostly apparitions spread like wildfire, contributing to the growing sense of unease. Elias, realizing the unintended consequences of his attempts to break the curse, followed the dolls with a heavy heart. The workshop, once a sanctuary of creativity, now echoed with the dissonant cries of the spirits seeking revenge. The ancient texts, scattered on the floor, seemed to mock Elias with their ominous warnings. The chaos escalated as the vengeful dolls targeted those who had wronged Elias, even if indirectly. The town square, once a gathering place for laughter, now became a stage for spectral justice. The malevolent force, unrestrained, manipulated the environment, creating an atmosphere of fear that permeated every corner of the forgotten town. As the dolls continued their relentless escalation, the once quiet streets echoed with the cries of the guilty and the wails of the wronged spirits. The town, now a battleground between the living and the spectral, descended into a nightmarish symphony of revenge. The climax of the supernatural reckoning loomed on the horizon, where Elias would have to confront the consequences of his pursuit of understanding and the malevolent force that had been unleashed upon the forgotten town. As the town descended further into chaos, Elias Blackwood found himself caught in a web of conflicting emotions, torn between guilt and a desperate desire to halt the escalating acts of revenge perpetrated by the vengeful dolls. The haunting melody, once a source of inspiration, now echoed with the dissonant chords of consequences as Elias confronted the shadows of his past actions. In the workshop's dim light, Elias revisited the memories that had led to the unintended unleashing of the malevolent force. The ancient texts, now stained with the unfolding chaos, served as a stark reminder of his pursuit of knowledge and the consequences that had befallen the forgotten town. The guilt weighed heavily on Elias's shoulders as he retraced the steps that had awakened the dolls. His hands trembled as he acknowledged the role he played in the chaos that gripped the town. The forgotten souls, seeking retribution through porcelain vessels, were a manifestation of the unresolved grievances that Elias had inadvertently unleashed. Driven by a desire to put an end to the chaos, Elias ventured into the heart of the town square where the vengeful dolls had intensified their spectral waltz. The air vibrated with the malevolent force, and Elias felt the accusing eyes of both the living and the spectral upon him. As Elias approached the dolls, their porcelain eyes gleamed with an intensity that mirrored the turmoil within his own soul. The haunting melody seemed to taunt him with the consequences of his actions, each note resonating with the echoes of guilt that reverberated through the town. In the midst of the chaos, Elias faced those who had been wronged, both in life and death. The guilty, now forced to confront the consequences of their past actions, pleaded for mercy amidst the spectral symphony. Elias, torn between a desire for redemption and the inexorable escalation of revenge, grappled with the weight of his decisions. The workshop, once a refuge for creativity, now stood as a testament to the unintended havoc that had been unleashed. The dolls, animated by the malevolent force, seemed to beckon Elias into a dance of atonement. The town, gripped by fear and paranoia, awaited the resolution of the supernatural reckoning that Elias had set into motion. As Elias confronted the consequences of his past actions, the haunting melody played on, echoing through the town as a melancholic reminder of the spectral forces at play. The climax of the supernatural drama approached, and Elias, burdened by guilt, would have to make a choice that would determine the fate of both the living and the spectral within the haunted tapestry of the forgotten town. Chapter 7, Confrontation in the Workshop. Elias Blackwood, torn by guilt and desperation, stood in the dimly lit workshop, facing the animated dolls that had become vessels for the vengeful spirits seeking retribution. The haunting melody played on, its dissonant chords echoing through the space as Elias attempted to reason with the trapped souls within the porcelain figures. "Please, listen to me," Elias pleaded, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and remorse. The dolls, their porcelain eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity, stood as silent sentinels of the spectral symphony that enveloped the workshop. As Elias addressed each doll, he uncovered the heartbreaking stories of the forgotten souls within them. The first doll, adorned in faded lace, held the essence of a lost love. The spirit within it spoke of a forbidden romance, betrayal, and the unquenchable thirst for justice. Elias, captivated by the haunting tale, felt the weight of the unresolved emotions that lingered in the workshop. The second doll, its eyes filled with the intensity of betrayal, revealed the grudge of a former friend who had succumbed to deception and manipulation. Elias, listening to the spectral confession, understood the pain of fractured trust and the demand for justice that echoed through the doll's porcelain form. As Elias moved from doll to doll, each spirit expressed its grievances, demanding retribution for the injustices that had plagued their lives. The workshop became an intimate stage for a tragic play, where the echoes of sorrow and betrayal reverberated in a spectral symphony of pain. In a haunting crescendo, the dolls, animated by the malevolent force, moved with an ethereal grace, each step synchronized with the rhythm of the dissonant melody. Elias, desperate to break the cycle of revenge, pleaded for understanding and forgiveness, his words a fragile plea in the face of supernatural wrath. The workshop walls seemed to absorb the spectral tales, their surfaces pulsating with the energy of unresolved grief. The malevolent force, once a puppeteer orchestrating chaos, now allowed the spirits to express their stories in a spectral ballet that unfolded before Elias's eyes. As the dolls poured forth their heart-wrenching stories, the haunting melody transformed into a mournful requiem. Elias, caught in the midst of the supernatural confrontation, felt the weight of responsibility for the lives he had unwittingly entangled in a web of revenge. The climax of the confrontation approached, and Elias, confronted by the heartbreaking stories of each doll, faced a choice that would determine the fate of the forgotten town and the vengeful spirits within. The workshop, a stage for the spectral drama, awaited the resolution of a tragedy that had unfolded across generations, and Elias stood at the center of the haunted tapestry, yearning for redemption amidst the echoes of sorrow and justice. Chapter 8, Breaking the Curse. In the dimly lit workshop, Elias Blackwood, fueled by newfound understanding and remorse, prepared to confront the malevolent force that had ensnared the forgotten town. With a determination born of desperation, he gathered the remnants of the ancient texts and prepared for a ritual that could break the curse and free the souls bound to the vengeful dolls. The haunting melody lingered in the air, a constant reminder of the supernatural forces at play. Elias traced symbols on the workshop floor, his hands steady yet trembling with the weight of responsibility. The dolls, their porcelain eyes fixated on him, stood as silent witnesses to the ritual that would determine their fates. As Elias chanted incantations from the ancient texts, the workshop became a nexus of spiritual energy. The malevolent force, once a source of chaos, seemed to waver as Elias's words resonated with newfound understanding and remorse. The dissonant melody transformed into a harmonious cadence, carrying the hopes of redemption. The dolls, teetering between malevolence and redemption, twitched with a spectral energy as the ritual unfolded. Their porcelain forms glowed with an otherworldly intensity, mirroring the conflict within the spirits trapped within. Elias, his voice a mixture of conviction and supplication, reached out to the vengeful souls, offering them a path towards redemption. The workshop walls, once witnesses to chaos, now absorbed the transformative energy of the ritual. Shadows danced with a renewed sense of purpose, and the air pulsed with the rhythm of a supernatural symphony seeking resolution. The forgotten souls within the dolls, yearning for release, expressed their desires through the ethereal dance. As Elias continued the ritual, the dolls' features contorted with the struggles of redemption. The lost love, the betrayed friend, and all the spirits entwined in the spectral tapestry manifested with a haunting beauty. The malevolent force, now caught in a delicate balance, seemed to acknowledge the possibility of redemption within the haunting melody. In a climactic confrontation, the workshop became a stage for the struggle between malevolence and redemption. The dolls, animated by the conflicted spirits, moved with an ethereal grace, their porcelain eyes reflecting the flickering flames of redemption. Elias, consumed by the ritual's intensity, faced the consequences of his actions and the responsibility of guiding the spirits towards salvation. The dissonant melody reached a crescendo, and the workshop seemed to hold its breath as Elias completed the ritual. A surge of supernatural energy swept through the space, and the dolls trembled with the echoes of a choice that transcended the boundaries between the living and the spectral. As the ritual neared its conclusion, the fate of the vengeful dolls hung in the balance. Redemption and malevolence clashed in a final struggle, and Elias, guided by newfound understanding and remorse, faced a moment of reckoning that would determine the outcome of the supernatural drama that had gripped the forgotten town. Epilogue: Silent Echoes. As the haunting melody faded into a melancholic hush, the workshop fell silent, and the air seemed to exhale the weight of supernatural tension. Elias Blackwood, breathless and emotionally spent, gazed upon the once animated dolls that now stood as lifeless figures, their porcelain eyes void of the otherworldly intensity that had fueled the spectral drama. The remnants of the ritual lingered in the air, a delicate echo of the supernatural forces that had held the forgotten town captive. The symbols on the workshop floor glowed for a moment before fading into obscurity, leaving behind only traces of the ancient knowledge that had guided Elias in his pursuit of redemption. The dolls, once vessels for vengeful spirits seeking retribution, now returned to their original state, silent witnesses to the passing of time. The lost love, the betrayed friend, and all the forgotten souls seemed to find solace in the stillness that enveloped the workshop. The malevolent force, once a puppeteer orchestrating chaos, dissipated into the shadows. Elias, standing amidst the silence, felt the weight of the consequences and the redemption that had unfolded within the workshop's confines. The haunting truth of the Dollmaker's tale, entwined with sorrow and justice, hung in the air like a bittersweet lullaby. As the dust settled, the forgotten town emerged from the shroud of fear and paranoia. The spectral waltz that had gripped the streets transformed into a memory, leaving only traces of the supernatural drama that had unfolded in the heart of the workshop. The townsfolk, who had once cowered behind locked doors, emerged cautiously into the sunlight. The rumors of haunting whispers and ghostly apparitions now seemed like fragments of a distant nightmare. The town square, once a stage for spectral justice, returned to a tranquil gathering place, echoing with the footsteps of those who had weathered the supernatural storm. Elias, now a figure marked by the consequences of his actions, surveyed the town with a mixture of relief and sorrow. The workshop, a sanctuary of creativity turned battleground of the supernatural, bore the scars of the Dollmaker's tale. The dolls, once animated by vengeful spirits, now stood as reminders of the fragile boundary between the living and the spectral. In the aftermath, Elias sought solace in the quietude of the workshop. The haunting melody, now a distant memory, seemed to linger in the air like the echo of a tale told through porcelain figures. The Dollmaker's workshop, once a realm of chaos, had become a silent testament to the transformative power of redemption and the consequences of meddling with forces beyond mortal comprehension. The town, no longer haunted by the malevolent force, embraced a new sense of normalcy. The forgotten souls, released from the porcelain vessels, seemed to find a semblance of peace in the eternal silence that followed the climax of the supernatural reckoning. As the final chords of the Dollmaker's tale resonated through the town, Elias closed the door to the workshop, leaving behind the silent echoes of a haunting chapter in the forgotten town's history. The dolls, now returned to lifeless figures, bore witness to a tale that transcended the boundaries of the living and the spectral, leaving only the memories of a Dollmaker's journey into the unknown. In the quiet aftermath of the supernatural upheaval, the forgotten town basked in a newfound stillness. The haunting melody, once a dissonant symphony of revenge, had given way to a serene quiet that settled over the cobblestone streets. Yet, in the silence, the echoes of the forgotten souls and the Dollmaker's quest for redemption lingered like a melancholic refrain. Elias Blackwood, now a solitary figure in the heart of the workshop, contemplated the consequences of his pursuit of knowledge and the unintended havoc it had unleashed. The remnants of the ritual were scattered across the floor, a testament to the delicate balance between redemption and malevolence that had teetered on the precipice. As Elias surveyed the lifeless dolls, once animated by vengeful spirits seeking retribution, he couldn't help but feel a profound sense of both sorrow and relief. The porcelain figures, now returned to their inert state, stood as silent witnesses to the transformative power of redemption and the fragility of the boundary between the living and the spectral. The town, no longer haunted by whispers of revenge and ghostly apparitions, began to embrace a renewed sense of normalcy. Yet, in the quiet corners and forgotten alleys, the echoes of the Dollmaker's tale persisted. The townsfolk, though relieved, couldn't shake the lingering sense that the supernatural drama had left an indelible mark on the fabric of their lives. The workshop, once a realm of creativity turned battleground of the supernatural, bore the scars of the Dollmaker's journey into the unknown. The symbols etched on the floor, though faded, hinted at the ancient knowledge that had guided Elias in his quest for redemption. The dolls, now lifeless figures, seemed to carry the weight of the forgotten soul's stories within their porcelain forms. Elias, grappling with the consequences of his actions, stood at the crossroads of redemption and remorse. The haunting melody, now a distant memory, played on in the recesses of his mind. The Dollmaker's quest for understanding and the unintended unleashing of supernatural forces had become a tale whispered in the quiet corners of the forgotten town. As the townsfolk cautiously ventured back into the town square and resumed their daily lives, the Dollmaker remained a solitary figure in the workshop, immersed in contemplation. The echoes of the forgotten souls lingered in the air, a reminder of the fine line between seeking redemption and unleashing unintended consequences. In the quiet aftermath, Elias Blackwood found solace in the knowledge that the supernatural storm had passed, but the lingering echoes of the Dollmaker's tale and the forgotten souls would forever be etched into the town's collective memory. The porcelain figures, once animated by vengeance, stood as a silent testament to the delicate dance between the living and the spectral, leaving the town to navigate the complex tapestry of redemption, consequences, and the quiet echoes that lingered in the aftermath of the supernatural wreck.